The Australian story, no matter the chapter, is an adventure story. Ancient, action-packed, precious and proud. This week, we journey to the Great Western Plains of New South Wales, a land blessed by its big skies, its big animals and its big adventures. Ours is a country of open roads and experiences wild and new. An adventure story that's yours for the making. Here's a little idea for your next big holiday. Go and grab the family car or hire an expedition dream machine and hit the road. For me, adventure is all about discovering the unexplored, going to a new place and perhaps spending a day or two extra. And I'm lucky, I've travelled around the world, but there is one place that I haven't explored, and that is inland Australia. So I've come out to the Great Western Plains to Dubbo for a great big adventure. Dubbo is a proud, thriving city of 42,000 people and growing. At the crossroads of the Mitchell, Newell and Golden Highways, it's hard to miss and you'll always feel welcome. And no visit to Dubbo would be complete without seeing Australia's greatest zoo, Taronga Western Plains. 350 hectares of amazing free-ranging animals and a conservation program that's saving some of the world's most endangered species. Check out the zebra. Despite its huge size, getting around the zoo is easy, especially if you're into your pedal power. There are around 38 different species of animals here that can be seen from 6 kilometres of meandering trails. You know what I really love about this zoo is that it doesn't have these big high grates or fences or glass walls. There's a moat and a small fence to keep us safe, but you can really make eye contact with these wild animals. And getting up close is easy with organised keeper talks and animal encounters, like the giraffes.
This giraffe here is Mavita that you're feeding at the moment, and the one just next to her over there is Natombi.
Where do these guys kind of fit into the animal kingdom?
Well, they're from Africa, as you can imagine. They're actually quite closely related to camels, and if you were to have a look at these guys standing next to a camel, you'd see that easily.
They're so gentle.
They really are.
They're such a big animal, they're actually surprisingly gentle. But this zoo is so much more than just an animal exhibit. There's some really important conservation work being carried out here.
The main reason we want to bring people into the zoo is to create that really compelling connection between them and the wildlife, to learn, to understand, and to take away things that they might do in their everyday life that has an impact on ecosystems and on the animals around the world.
I suppose just coming and seeing the animals is like the tip of the iceberg to what you guys are actually doing.
Absolutely is. There's so much going on behind the scenes. Black rhinoceros is an example. More southern black rhinoceros have been bred here at Taronga Western Plains Zoo than anywhere outside of Africa. So that's a pretty astounding kind of statistic.
Your zoo ticket is valid for 2 whole days, which should be just enough time to get around and see everything. But my vote for one of the very best experiences is the meerkat encounter. Once you're safely sat inside their home turf... Okay, hands in my pocket. First one's up already. Hey! Your job is to try and resist reaching out and hugging these adorable little African legends. These guys come from the Kalahari Desert in Africa, but right now Dubbo is their very comfortable home. Meerkats are related to the mongoose. They're carnivorous and like dining on insects, lizards, even scorpions. Today, it's mealworms. Pretty amazing, isn't it? If you guys want an encounter like this, you can book it when you come to the zoo or before your holiday, and trust me, it's worth it. These guys are definitely my favourite. Hi. To read about more great Aussie adventures in the current issue of Australian Geographic and secure yourself a subscription, log on to agadventures.com.au. Next, a paddling adventure through the river heart of outback Dubbo. There is no mistaking that the Great Western Plains is a destination full of big adventures. And at the centre of all the action is the township of Dubbo itself. So this is your place?
Yes, welcome to Dubbo.
Thank you. Karen Hagan is a local educational officer and former writer for the local paper, whose obvious love for her hometown is pretty catchy.
This is a place which has an incredibly rich history. Our Wiradjuri nation has occupied this region for 40,000 years. The name Dubbo is a reference to a Wiradjuri word meaning red ochre. But the Europeans came in 1818. That's when John Oxley first arrived.
Yeah, it's a great sort of place to come. It's like a big intersection, but actually when you spend a little bit of time here, I'm imagining it's quite a sweet little destination.
We have so much here, but do you know, my favourite place is a place where people don't actually go to enough, and that is the river, the Macquarie River.
Named after the then Governor of New South Wales, the Macquarie River is known by the local Wiradjuri people as Womble and flows serenely through the heart of town. And at 628 kilometres long from start to finish, it's becoming hugely popular with kayakers. Paddleboarding is relatively new to this ancient river, but it's beginning to take off as a perfect way to explore, discover and learn about Dubbo's magnificent river. Why are you so passionate? Why is this river so important to you?
Oh, it goes straight to my heart. Honestly, it's Australia's sustainability as a nation depends upon maintaining biodiverse and healthy landscapes. That's why I'm so passionate about looking after it and educating people about it.
There's an incredible amount of life reliant on the river, isn't there? Not just the people of Dubbo, but the animals. And...
Oh, absolutely. There's about 300 different species of birds in this region. There are platypus, and that's a beautiful animal to see in the water. We've got possums in the trees. On the sides of the river, of course, we have a whole range of lizards. I mean, we're talking about the dragons, the water dragons sunbathing themselves.
It's almost like when you come down here, you're at eye level with the river.
How true that is.
It's like a nice 360-degree experience.
Absolutely. And I think you're right. What a marvellous thing that not only is it essential for our sustainability as a nation, but we can just enjoy it. It's just so glorious.
I may be new to this land, but the Wiradjuri people have lived along this river for more than 40,000 years. Their ancestors and their culture are all intermingled with the gentle ebb and flow of their sacred river.
My name's Frank Dolan. I'm Riverbank Frank. I'm a Wiradjuri man. The river is my home.
Frank, what does this river mean to your people, the Wiradjuri people?
It means life. You know, my people have lived along it ever since it's been here. It has significance to us. It would have been a great source of life. It would have had cultural, ceremonial significance. I think it's very, very important that we all take responsibility in the river, and to be honest, we've got to learn how to love it, because when it's gone, it's gone.
Now, if Dubbo's tranquil Macquarie River has you daydreaming about a paddleboard journey of your own, remember our website, agadventures.com.au, is a fantastic tool to use when it comes to researching any of our featured destinations and planning and booking your very own adventure. And if you'd like to win yourself a lifetime of weekend fun, to kick off Australian Geographic Adventures premiere series, we're going to be giving away the ultimate adventure kit that we hope will inspire you to get out and explore this amazing country of ours. To win this majestic 2015 Sierra Off-Road Extreme, complete with rugged 15-inch wheels, Simplicity suspension, air conditioning, gas-heated hot water system, rear ensuite and a Kamek top-load washer. And this Stabycraft 1650 Fisher with Mercury outboard, low-rents electronics and trans-style trailer. Just text your full name and details to 1995 2010 to be in the running. Or go and grab your computer and log on to our website, agadventures.com.au, and use this code word to enter the draw. If you have any questions, all terms and conditions can be found on our website, so go get busy. Coming up, basking in the fire of a billion stars, David visits Australia's most important telescope.
In the days of the early explorers, a trip to Dubbo would have taken weeks, maybe months. Today, it's less than an hour to the nearest major capital, but it's not my final destination. I'm on a path that'll take me into the mountains and up to the stars.
In 1818, the explorer John Oxley saw these mountains, said of them most stupendous, and promptly called them the Arbuthnot Range. Arbuthnot. Thankfully, we've settled for a much better name, the Warrumbungles, which is a local indigenous word meaning crooked mountains. And don't they make for a fabulous landscape? Like a row of bad teeth gnashing at a big sky.
I'm climbing 1,100 metres above sea level to Siding Springs in the Warrumbungle Ranges, home to an enormous and magnificent scientific instrument, the world-renowned Anglo-Australian Telescope. After testing sites all over the country, the Australian National University selected the Warrumbungle Ranges because of its high elevation, low humidity and a 70% average of cloudless night skies. There are a total of 12 telescopes here, with a visitors centre and public access to the viewing gallery of the main telescope.
For thousands of years, the night sky has inspired explorers, scientists, dreamers, romantics, poets. And here in Australia, we are blessed with buckets of the stuff. We've got enormous expanses of gorgeous silky emptiness, vast havens of silky blackness, just the kind of stuff that causes the eyepiece of an astronomer's telescope to fog.
As night falls, the mountain bristles with quiet activity. The stars come out, and so do the astronomers. I'm going to meet a distinguished professor of astronomy, Frederick Garnet Watson, AM. But around here, everyone just calls him Fred.
Fred, I'm thrilled to see that you've got a telescope here, because I'm sure I read on the AAT website a sentence that said, "Today, professional astronomers never look through telescopes."
This must not go beyond these four walls, David, but I love looking through telescopes. Why I became an astronomer in the first place, because I like looking through them. Until 100 years ago, astronomers made discoveries simply by looking through telescopes. But then they discovered ways of making the telescopes more sensitive that eliminated the human eyes from the process.
Right.
And so now what we use are high-tech pieces of equipment, gadgets that actually allow us to record the light and analyse it, sift it for its rainbow spectrum colours and make discoveries that way.
The 4-metre mirror at the base of the scope concentrates distant light from stars, up to 400 at a time, into a beam that can be analysed for information that is simply and stunningly mind-boggling. And so, as the clouds above us finally clear, the southern sky unwraps itself like a gift from Galileo himself.
So what are we looking at tonight?
So the whole sky is like a map to people who know their way around it. And the easiest way in Australia to find your way around the sky is, first of all, to look for the Southern Cross. Up here are the two pointers, one above the other, pointing towards the cross, which is right there. And the cross tells you the way to find the South Pole of the sky.
Ah, there it is, yeah. So what is happening with the Anglo-Australian telescope? What are you looking for?
Some of the things that the Anglo-Australian telescope is noted for are things like the discovery of planets orbiting other stars. We know of something like 2,000 or 3,000 now of these planets going around other stars, and about 8% of them have been discovered here at the Anglo-Australian telescope.
The other big question is, are we alone, I suppose?
That's the other big question, yeah, the third of the big question. So are we alone? Well, we don't know yet.
Will you discover that through this?
You never know.
.com.au has all the latest caravanning and four-wheel driving information ready and waiting for you to discover.
Coming up next, the life and crimes of Dubbo's notorious old jail. When it comes to exploring Dubbo and the Great Western Plains, you're going to need a place to base yourself. And from basic tent sites to classy cabins, the Dubbo Parklands Holiday Park has facilities laid on for road-weary travellers. But for those of us who prefer to roll with our home on wheels, parks like this guarantee that you can keep things simple and affordable. How good's my pad? It's like my own hotel on wheels. I only have to unpack once. I've got a bed, I've got a kitchen, I've got like full pantries, fridge. I've even got my own ensuite. It's like a hotel on wheels. I know you're jealous. It's pretty cool, eh? But once you're refuelled and refreshed, no trip to Dubbo is complete without paying a visit to a local institution that can be quite sinister, but well worth a look, the old Dubbo Jail. These notorious corridors may look ancient, but amazingly, this jail was in use right up until the 1960s.
And then the first building, the male cell division, was built in 1871.
Michaela Davis joined me for a brief history in crime.
The best stories from here is the Geyer brothers' escape. So these were two men in a cell together, and as they went about their daily chores around the jail, they picked up little bits of wood and twigs and kindling and collected them in one of their toilet buckets. When they had enough, they lit that bucket on fire. One hopped on the other's shoulders and burnt a hole through the wooden ceilings. So all this smoke billowing through the windows of their cell division gave them away. So then they had 6 guards come down, hide underneath this veranda. When the Geyer brothers jumped down on one, the rest of them quickly surrounded them, brought them straight back inside.
Mannequins and soundscapes keep the creepy factor high, and kids love this place just for the spooks. History can be unpleasant sometimes. In fact, prisoners were actually executed here, the last in 1905.
This is the condemned cell. So it's where we held the 8 men that were hanged here at Dubbo Jail.
But for those looking for a more chilling insight into jail life, a Beyond the Grave night tour has been created to take those who dare into restricted areas where unexplainable extrasensory activity has been recorded. If the big skies and open roads of the Great Western Plains have inspired you to take that annual leave, or maybe you'd like to experience a new adventure every week, see Brits, and owning an RV could be for you. This week, the good town of Dubbo turned on some great accommodation for the crew and I. After the journey up from Sydney, we kicked back at the Dubbo City Holiday Park, who have campsites starting from $24 and cabins from $105. After exploring the Western Plains Zoo, we rolled out our swags at the Dubbo Mid-State Caravan Park, with its campsites starting at $28 and cabins from $85. And finally, the folks down at the Dubbo Parklands Holiday Park laid out the welcome mat for us, with their campsites starting at $32 and cabins from $110. If you've seen anything on this week's show that has piqued your interest or caught your fancy, don't forget our website agadventures.com.au has heaps of useful information on how to research and book your Great Western Plains escape.
Next week, my journey into far western New South Wales continues as I follow in the footsteps of the great Henry Lawson, explore the dramatic red dirt of corner country, and learn about Broken Hill, Australia's first National Heritage listed town.